Welcome to the Insider's Blueprint for B2B sourcing. I've actually just stepped off the hardshell factory floor to talk directly with you today. Speaking as a professional engineer here at Hardshell's coffee machine manufacturing plant, I've seen exactly what makes and breaks a project. Whether you're a B2B procurement director, a product manager, sourcing equipment for a hotel chain, or running a coffee shop empire, you know that picking the right equipment literally dictates your business's success. So today we're tearing down the ultimate insider's guide to OEM and ODM coffee machine manufacturing. Now, here's a massive headache we absolutely have to address right out of the gate. Why do so many OEM coffee machine projects completely fail? We're talking delayed shipments, blown budgets, and machines failing import compliance. You pour in all this capital only to get stuck with unpredictable quality and a product that just doesn't fit your market. The crazy truth? The outcome is usually set in stone before a single machine is even built. Down in the engineering department, I stand by one absolute rule. When I review a new inquiry, the biggest risk isn't a faulty pump or a failed component, it's an incomplete brief. Literally, the worst mistake a buyer can make is shooting over a one-line email asking for the lowest price on an espresso machine. That forces the supplier to guess, and let me tell you, in manufacturing, guessing equals failing. To fix that, here is our blueprint for today. 1. Stop asking for the lowest price. 2. Define your machine application. 3. Real factory or catalog trader. 4. The mass production handoff. 5. 5 quality control gates. And 6. Calculate total procurement cost. This is going to be a completely fluff-free technical deep dive designed specifically for you procurement pros making the real decisions. Section 1. Stop asking for the lowest price. Let's transition right into the first crucial step. The danger of just asking for a rock-bottom price is that an incomplete brief creates completely false comparisons. Without exact specs, a 120-volt US model looks identical on paper to a 220 to 240-volt European model. But under the hood, the electrical configurations, the safety certifications, the testing standards, they are worlds apart. A vague brief makes a mature, off-the-shelf private label platform look exactly the same as a brand new custom mold project. You're not comparing apples to apples, you're basically comparing a fully grown apple tree to an apple seed. Section 2. Define your machine application. Which brings us naturally to the next step. Before you even think about flipping through a supplier's catalog, you have to define the machine's actual end use. Platform selection is absolutely everything. Are you looking for a semi-automatic, a machine with an integrated grinder, a standalone grinder, or maybe a capsule architecture? This choice completely depends on your end user's skill level and your brand's market position. And the engineering reality behind these choices is fascinating. For instance, just swapping a baseline 51mm portafilter for a professional 58mm one isn't just swapping a part. It completely changes the mold, the bill of materials, and all the required certification work. Let's use some concrete examples right off the hardshell production line to prove this. Take our CM1678. This is a commercial triple boiler model built for 220 to 240 volts. It is absolutely not a plug-and-play solution for the US market. Then you have the CM1663, which is a compact, slim platform explicitly engineered for 120 volts at 60 Hz. And the CM1813, that one's all about multi-capsule compatibility. The massive takeaway here is that your specific application and voltage have to match the quoted model perfectly. Otherwise, you're buying a huge liability, not a product. Section 3. Real factory or catalog trader. Once you know what you need, you have to figure out who you're actually talking to. The crucial thing is matching your business goals with the right kind of partner. Take a look at this breakdown. If you need steady, repeat orders, you want a manufacturer, and you need to ask for evidence like their legal entity, physical factory, and BOM records. If you're building a private label, you need an OEM or ODM partner, where you'll audit their design scope, tooling ownership, and change control. Distributors are great for ready stock, and retailers for single units. But if your project requires an OEM partner to handle core manufacturing, please do not get fooled by the shiny promises of a catalog trader. When you're vetting a factory, ask for the hard numbers. 50,000. That is Hardshell's regular monthly capacity. And backing up that number is 8,000 square meters of actual factory space and 150 staff members. Use these numbers as your baseline. Ask them for factory videos, ask to see the assembly lines, check out their testing labs. If they can't show you the factory floor, there's a really good chance they don't actually own one. Section 4. The mass production handoff. Now we're hitting the most critical engineering phase, taking a prototype and turning it into a repeatable, mass-market product. Think about the difference between these two mindsets. A catalogal trader will give you a vague, super dangerous promise like, everything is possible, mass production will be exactly the same as the sample. As an engineer, hearing that literally makes me shudder. A real reliable manufacturing handoff sounds like this. We need an approved BOM, strictly recorded changes, the exact voltage version, and full serial traceability. A trustworthy handoff follows a very strict sequence. It starts with your one-page product brief. Then we produce a sample and meticulously record every single color tweak and functional adjustment. Once the BOM and documents are approved and locked in, we do a first batch inspection. Finally, we establish full serial and batch traceability. Out on a professional factory floor, saying it'll be same as sample is simply never an acceptable control method.
Section 5. 5 quality control gates.
So how do we actually guarantee quality? Let me pull back the curtain on our internal QA reality. We run a rigid 5-gate quality control system. It acts like a gauntlet to catch risks super early. SQE audits our raw material suppliers. Then IQC inspects incoming parts like pumps and boilers before they ever hit the line. PQC monitors the actual assembly process in real time, while QA handles system verification. Finally, FQC is the absolute last line of defense before a machine ships out. We are not waiting for a finished machine to reach your consumer before we find a problem.
This is my personal commitment, and it's the iron law of our factory floor. If a pressure drop or electrical fault appears, the unit is held. No explaining it away. Radical transparency and safety are simply non-negotiable. To give you a sense of that rigor, our reliability plans include up to 6,000 whole machine lifecycle cups and 15,000 pump cycles. That is the kind of engineering data you should be demanding.
Section 6. Calculate total procurement cost.
All right, let's pivot to the financials. We need to talk about your true financial exposure because it goes way beyond just the unit FOB price. Hidden costs are what destroy B2B budgets. When you compare shortlisted suppliers, you have to compare them across the board. Who's paying for the molds and PCB engineering? Who covers compliance testing? What about custom retail packaging, complex logistics, and crucially, after-sales spare parts and warranty labor? Once those hidden risks blow up, the lowest headline quote often becomes your most expensive choice.
Let's talk scale for a second. 1,000 units. That's the standard minimum order quantity, or MOQ, in this industry. However, a real factory partner offers flexibility. For specific, well-planned compact machine projects, we'll often negotiate that MOQ down to 500 units to support a launch. But keep in mind, that kind of flexibility is built on a tight engineering plan, not just a casual compromise.
You also need a highly realistic timeline. If you're doing a mature platform sample with just a simple color change, that takes about a week. But if you need a customized sample, like modifying the milk system or the portafilter, that timeline stretches to a month because we have to adjust molds and BOMs. Once approved, standard production takes roughly 45 days, followed by a week for final inspection. Knowing this exact rhythm protects your go-to-market schedule from totally derailing.
So here is your ultimate actionable takeaway. Before you send your next sourcing email, you have to complete your one-page brief. Define your target market, the electrical version, and the end user. Lock down your platform architecture and brand position, and clearly outline your quantity plan, compliance needs, and schedule. If you send this exact brief to a factory, I promise you, you're going to get an incredibly accurate, directly comparable quote. I want to leave you with a provocative question to challenge your next project. Are you buying a carefully engineered manufacturing solution or just the lowest headline quote on a flawed catalog picture? As an engineer, I strongly urge you to prioritize transparency, engineering rigor, and total procurement cost. If you do that, your next coffee machine project won't just succeed, it will completely dominate your market. Thanks for coming down to the factory floor with me today. I absolutely can't wait to see your detailed briefs hit our production lines.